Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. That's the best.
Um, did you see my message? Do you want me to send you the
Yeah,
money?
you can. I'm
Okay,
mailing the check tomorrow. He's not going to cash it until the 28th, but if you want to send it to me, that's fine.
I'm just gonna send it to get it out of the way. So,
Okay, that'd be great. It's money spent, so there you go. And people did give me cash.
oh, so
I'm
you paid
fine.
ahead.
Yeah.
Good, good.
There were people that were very hurt that they missed the hour that they could have donated.
You lose, you lose. We're gonna have to. We're gonna have, next time. We're gonna have to have one of those announcements that okay, it starts at midnight
Yeah.
on whatever. Because some people said, "Oh, I was out of town. I didn't look at my email. All of a sudden, it's closed."
You have 24
Well,
hours to donate. That's it.
that's it. That's it.
Hi,
Done.
Dave. Is he not there? Yeah. Guess who started playing pickleball, Patty? Dave and his wife.
And son, you missed my son on Sunday.
Oh, no, really?
Miss is the wrong word, but
How old is your son?
he's 17.
Oh, great. We like youngsters.
It was fun.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Is he taking the class, or is he just
No, but
going out there and
he's
winging
coming a
it?
lot. He's coming a lot. And Gwen, his wife, is coming as well. And I really enjoy playing with them. It's fun.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Get out there, David.
Yeah, going like a lot, like Cindy said.
I think we've got everybody out there now, right?
Is that it? Where's Mike?
Is Karen out
No,
there?
I meant on the pickleball court. Karen, have
Does Karen come out and play?
yeah, Karen's out there.
Well, I'm kind of out there, but I play more at Alpine Hills. But I'm
Yeah.
hoping to come to the Memorial Day
Oh,
potluck.
I hope you do, Karen. It'd be really fun. You know so many people there.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
although Alpine Hills had what would you call that? A mixer?
They're doing these, what do they call it? Pickleball rocks, but it's just a social mixer on some Friday nights.
Yeah, and I actually went to that and played with Karen.
Cindy, can I just come and watch? I can't play.
What, for Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. If the food's great, I'm telling you, you just
Oh,
have
I'm
no
sure.
idea. People go way out for this stuff.
For sure. Well, I'm not there to eat. I'm just,
You can come watch play and you can see, because usually these things draw about 40 or 50 people. And so there's always people lurking around the fence. And we do this system of 4 on and 4 off. So as soon as you finish a game, everybody goes off and then you sign up on a board to go in with whoever you'd like to play with. It's kind of a fun system.
I won't compete for time. My knees and back aren't quite there yet. So, and my lungs, and gee, what else is wrong with me? Never mind.
I expect you to take your annual class.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna take it, goddammit, every year. Pay money to the town, which never gets refunded, but hey.
I have a non-pickleball and non-Parks and Rec question.
Oh,
Does it have to wait for the meeting?
No, I want it to not be part of the meeting.
Oh, okay, go.
So as I do the loop from my house, I end up walking along Cervantes. And then I hit Westridge and I take a left. And when I'm walking along Westridge with my dogs, it's like someone has weed whacked it all. Like I think various property owners, but there's some spots where like clearly someone has just weed whacked the trail. But the section like on the Cervantes trail just before you hit Westridge is terrible. Like it's like 18 inches wide and full of weeds with foxtails. Does the town?
What's your question?
Does the town cover that as part at all, or no? Or is that all property owners that are not covering it?
I think that's a question. That's probably a question for Mr. Burt, who joined us.
Oh, perfect.
But I mean, technically, the town does have the easement on either
Yeah.
the road, which includes the trail. But, I
Can I
think the
borrow their
expectation,
gas weed? Can I borrow their
I think-
gas weed whacker for an hour?
no, I think the expectation is the resident, does their part to take care of it, but I know there are some residents that have called the town and asked them to cut
Yeah.
their part of it.
Hey, David, this is Robert Birch here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this located on a trail or is this located on a private road
It is,
or
the,
can you
it
just,
is the town trail along Cervantes, just like from Westridge. It's like the last 50 yards.
It's along the road.
okay. If
yeah.
do you know how to use PV Connect?
No,
Okay. Would you be able to shoot me an email?
yes.
And you can just send that through to rbert at
Wait,
We're
wait,
told-
wait. One R, two T's.
correct. That is
At-
Romeo Bravo Uniform Romeo Tango Tango.
Yeah.
At portolavalley.net.
On it. Okay.
And just describe where it is. And we
Great.
actually have delayed the trail mowing by about a week because
Okay.
the Trails and Paths Committee somebody had a question regarding trying to protect more of the wildflowers. So we are getting to it. It is going to happen in the next 3 weeks here.
Great.
But if you send something over to me, I can try to get that done sooner for you.
Cool. Great.
Okay, well, then I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And I'm not on my regular computer here at 7:36. Okay. Okay, at this time, are there any oral communications from anybody in attendance for items that are not on the agenda? Mr. Cardinal, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm good.
You're good. I'm sure you have something to say, just not right now.
Oh,
Right.
definitely.
Welcome, Dave.
Uh,
Okay, approval of minutes from April 15th. Do I have a motion to approve or any other comment?
I motion to approve.
I second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, I'm gonna go on to new business. But a couple things that are not on the agenda, and Robert, for your information, we are not a Brown Act committee, so we have a lot more leeway when it comes to conversation, agenda, etc. And that is by choice, and I'll never go back. But I do want to introduce Robert, who is in attendance tonight. Robert Bird is our new town engineer. And Robert, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just taking a minute or so to introduce yourself. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Robert Burt. Nice to meet everyone. I came on as town engineer, gosh, I think 3 weeks ago now, so very recent. I look forward to working with you all. My background is as a fire protection engineer, civil engineer, and mechanical engineer, licensed and registered. Additionally, I carry licenses in various other professions, including contractor, electrician, plumber, so on and so forth. But I used to do a lot of work with San Francisco Planning Commission, and I look forward to serving you all. Thank you.
Good, well, welcome. You may not say that after tonight, but hey, you know, we'll figure that out.
So
David
far, so
Cardinal.
good.
David Cardinal keeps coming back, so
well, I'm not very smart.
that's not true at all. Slow Tuesday night, although the Giants are playing. Not the worst. A couple things on new business. Committee structure and new application. I don't see Steve on here. Sorry, Scott, Steve. He said he might dial in. We do have an application for a new member. I did attach it to the agenda for the meeting. Karen and I did sit down with Steve and did kind of a little mini interview process. Also kind of told him what he was really in for. And he still wanted to go ahead with it, which I think is a testament to probably Karen, not myself. But if you've all had a chance to read Steve's application, if you have any comments or questions, I would like to vote on it tonight as a committee. Any comments or questions?
He sounds great. I mean, he sounds great. He's young, he's got kids in the district, and I think we need people on the committee that have kids to have that aspect. I thought his statement was really great.
Yeah,
I mean, he plays softball. He was in the Little League. He coaches Little League. I mean, he's involved in the community. You know, his wife's involved in community. It's a clearly a community-oriented family. And it sounded like he would love to be a member of pickleball.
He mentioned that.
well, the passing point was the interview question when I asked him how he felt about dunk tanks.
Of course you did, Karen.
And he is all for them. So he has my vote and then some.
Although
He
he
is my
did
vote,
not, he did not volunteer to be dunked. He just said he liked dunk tanks.
yeah.
So let's clarify. You have to clarify the answer.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments, questions? Okay. All those in favor of inviting Steve to join the committee?
Aye.
I
Thank you. So I will, since we are town manager committee, I will let Mark know that we have approved it, and I think he'll probably approve it, and then he will be a member. So welcome, Steve.
So can I ask, who do we contact to say, you know, at the top of the agenda that we get, it lists all the members. Mike Chang's still not on there. If we have another new member, why don't we add both of them at the same time?
Oh, I
Top
can
of
do,
the
Is,
thing.
I
what,
can do.
is Mike a full member, or is he a member while John's on leave, or what was the deal with that?
Well, Mike doesn't know it, but he's a full member.
He's a
He
full
only,
member.
he only thinks he's filling in for John, but he doesn't
Okay.
really.
John talked him into it.
If we keep having trivia nights, I bet Mike sticks
He'll
around.
stay forever. So
Okay.
Karen.
Okay. Committee structure, I did want to mention something and get your comments, questions, input. Mark Linder, the acting town manager, gave me a call the other day, and the Cultural Arts Committee is really kind of not meeting or not practicing at the moment. John Badger has resigned as chairman of the committee, primarily because he's entirely focused on the Paloozo and the 501c3 that manages all of the town concerts. And I spoke to him over the phone, really just didn't have time to lead the Cultural Arts Committee as well. There's really only 2 or 3 active members of the committee right now, and they do not have anybody that's willing to step up and be the chairman. What Mark asked me is whether he thought there was synergy in combining cultural arts and Parks and Rec into one committee. Again, a reminder, it would not include the Paloozo. It would not include any of the town concerts, those are all managed by the 501c3. So quite honestly, I'm not quite sure what the Cultural Arts Committee still does. I think that might be something to, ask them about as they, potentially might come on board. I didn't reach out to the individual members in case, this committee had any significant concerns about it, but I do want to bring it up as a discussion point. So I'd appreciate any thoughts that you might have.
You know what, I haven't done this, I completely forgot about this, but have we looked at what their
Charter.
Charter.
charter is? I mean, I know I saw some minutes
it up, I
once
can-
where. Okay, they were talking about like doing a town movie night, or I think there was poetry stuff. I mean, but I think partly understanding what the charter is would be good to know.
That's a good point, Karen. David, did you call it up? You said,
Yeah,
I
other David, never mind.
Okay.
I just have, I quickly browsed to their webpage on the thing, and I have their about statement, which I'm happy to read to you guys. The objectives of the Cultural Arts Committee are to bring together the various cultural interests in the community in order to facilitate communication, interaction, and mutual support. And then two bullets underneath that: increase cultural awareness among residents of Portola Valley by sponsoring and supporting local cultural activities in the areas of art, music, science and nature, history, horticulture, drama, literature, photography, and dance, and by providing improved communication about cultural affairs to residents. And the second bullet is to pursue a long-range goal of establishing a cultural center for Portola Valley. And that is it.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
big ticket.
thank you.
I don't know if that
So
was
did
helpful.
they do, for example, the Chinese New Year thing? Was that a Cultural and Arts Committee function?
What was the Chinese New
I
Year
don't think
thing?
so. I
They
think
had
that was
the
the Race
lion
and
dance
Equity
come, they
Committee.
had some dancers from outside come and perform, but it might have been a library function. Because it was
I
that
think
one.
that was a library function, but Dave, well, I can do it. Somebody could pull up their minutes because the
Yeah.
minutes should at least list some of the activities they were
Yeah, I'm
talking
I'm
about.
chuckling because oh, never mind, found one. I had to go back to February to find their last meeting.
Wow.
All the other ones were canceled.
They haven't been very active at all. I don't think, according to John, they do not have any active projects in the pipeline. So
So
outside of the concert series, which of course they no longer are responsible for.
so I can't share it, can I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
Oh, let's go.
You can share, David.
All right. Here you go. So this is their minutes from their agenda from the March 13th one. So important thing. So new business, need to abandon. Christmas fair, need to abandon. Summer concert series. But so you say they're not doing that?
Well, the town is, but it's not under the Cultural Arts
All right.
Committee.
Yeah. So, all right. So not, and that's all. There,
Yeah.
so not much.
So, I had a thought, given what Cindy said about Chinese New Year, is I wonder if some of this stuff could be coordinated with the library.
Mm.
Or if that's all through the San
Maybe.
Mateo County Library System and not the Portola Valley Library System. I mean, I can see doing movie nights as part of Parks and Rec. But I don't know if we want to expand our charter for all cultural activities.
Well,
I mean, that
mean-
could be a lot.
Well, I think we would have the option, if we brought on board, to define the charter. I mean, I think that, as David read it, would be much too broad for us, I think, to attack, given everything that we've got going on in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can
I
I?
agree.
Hold on, David, hold on.
All right.
Committee first.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know if you heard. I agree with you, Patty. Is I think that we have some things that we'd really like to get done and we're, not that large of a committee to focus on them. I don't know how much more we could take on, I guess is what I'm wondering.
but if we were to two or three, if we were to bring on 2 or 3 more people, and
Then
we
we-
could, kind of put a parameters or reasonable parameters around what we define as cultural arts, we could use the help at Parks and Rec to do some of the things that we want to do that could be considered cultural arts.
Music bingo,
Music
music
bingo,
trivia.
that's culture.
That's in a way. Science, I don't know. Art.
There is a science and nature committee already, so that's why I do think this charter is somewhat broad.
It's too
um,
broad, probably.
Yeah,
And literature is covered by the library, a lot of that, because we do all the author readings and we do a lot of that. That would seem to be what they would also do. Inviting young authors in.
Well,
Hmm.
I think it's an opportunity, and I don't have strong feelings one way or the other. I think it's an opportunity to really focus effort in that area. Because as you say, I think there's a lot of overlap between, what other parts of Portola Valley, and maybe we need a cultural arts committee. I have no idea.
I
Maybe that
need
would be
to
our solution.
research that before I want to know who's on it, what they've done in the past, all that kind of stuff before we say we would take that on.
Okay, that's good.
Can we
That's
talk
good.
about that next month? I mean, make sure, I would love to do research. Would any of you, anything?
Well, I would be happy to call a meeting of the current active members,
Yeah,
to get an idea of maybe what they felt is kind of on their radar of what they would like to do, or whether they even have any thoughts about it. I'd be happy to do that for the next meeting.
that would be great.
yeah, thank you, Patty.
Yeah.
Okay.
thank-
All right, David, what's your comment?
Well, actually, I have a lot of experience with the Cultural Arts Committee here and in Woodside that I thought might be useful. I've been involved in several events they've done. At one point, they had several of us as photographers do a nice thing at the schoolhouse with everybody who came in that wanted to learn about photography. They've had a number of artists where you bring your work and show off your work, local artists, stuff like that. They've had
Art
readings.
shows. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, like art shows for local. I mean, they're not even really shows exactly because it's not like you're making a lot of money. It's more a thing for the, local artists and the town and supporting the Cultural Arts Committee. So it's been I think a nice resource and a good thing. And I don't think you need to worry about the charter because the charter, I mean, we can't ever do anything that's, I mean, the charters are all broad. So it's more like, hey, it'd be good to have a poetry evening, or it'd be good to have this thing. And it's more like you guys do with game night. If people are energetic about it on the committee and want to take it on, I think Carolyn Rogers, for example, was really helpful with some of the events. It's more, hey, it's cultural arts. What can we do? Or authors, like, hey, we have an author. Let's have them do a reading at the schoolhouse. So I think it's pretty cool. And I've been involved in quite a number of their events. Whether you guys want to take it on, I cannot, that's beyond my pay grade. But I think it's a nice thing. So thanks.
Okay, thanks, David. Yeah, I in full transparency, I will fall on my sword here a little bit in that I have been one of the most outspoken critics I believe in this town of the fact that I think we have too many committees. We have 17 committees and commissions. Palo Alto has like 6. Now, in fairness, they have like a paid Parks and Rec department, so they don't have a Parks and Rec committee. But I'm probably getting challenged in that regard by the town manager, who has heard me say that we have too many committees. But that doesn't mean this is a solution. So,
Cindy, are you on the library?
I am. I'm on the board of the Friends of the Portola Valley Library. Yes.
And you were saying that you guys do readings and things
We
like
do.
that, right?
Yes.
Would,
Like
would
when
you-
Sue Crane gave a reading at the library, we do that. I mean, we arrange that. Our group does. Yeah.
Would
so
you-
local authors.
would you be willing to ask that group if they were willing to take pieces of it that made sense from the
They
library
would do
side?
anything literary. Yes, absolutely. I'm
And-
sure they would. And I'm sure I'll ask them. I mean,
Okay.
that's what we do.
Yeah, all right.
Is we want to fund projects for the library that are literary.
So you know what, I'm gonna go a little bit on a tangent here, but speaking of local authors, I don't know if you've heard of Rita Bullwinkle. She was born and raised here. She's in her early 30s. She her first novel was nominated for the Pulitzer, and she
Yeah.
was in the top running. So she just thinking about local authors and things like that, that may be something. She's so busy though, I'm not sure she could come to Portola Valley right now, but
If you
It's
go
pretty
to the
exciting.
cultural arts website, they have a list of all the local authors, and there's like 100.
okay.
So we have a very big pool of local authors that we can tap on.
Yeah,
I think what you're saying are the more recent ones, the more would be something that would be very special to have.
yeah,
Yeah,
younger generation, yeah,
the younger generation.
yeah.
okay, so the action item is for, I think, everybody to kind of give this some thought, and I will specifically reach out to the current members and just get a feel for kind of what they envision for the committee, maybe what projects they have in mind or the funnel, and come back to this committee with more information. All right,
Yes, ma'am.
Christy, did you have a comment?
Yes, I went to a reading for 5 books down at, it's not Christ Church, but it's the church across from the Little League field. And Debbie Romani was down there, and she's written a couple books. Just thought I'd tell you. It was nice to listen to local people describe their books. I enjoyed it.
Local authors. In fact, I'm supposed to be a character in one. I better damn well better be. Okay. Okay, Christy, can you drop your hand then? Thanks. Okay, moving along then. Okay, Cindy, I've been back to your request to add the town picnic under
Yeah.
old business. Okay, game night update. We don't have
Hey,
Mike here.
Patty,
Yeah,
can I, I don't know if it's under new business, but can I talk about my bocce ball idea at some point during the meeting? I don't know where it would fall.
yes, dear.
Thank you.
Like my mother. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Okay, game night update. We don't have Mike here, and he was the one that wanted to tie down a theme. So should we wait for Mike?
So we don't have a date for the game night? I thought we did.
We
do,
haven't,
November 8th, I think.
Yeah.
not 9th, wait, now, hang on.
8th,
They publish that in the minutes.
November 8th. Saturday.
Yep.
Great.
So I was the Mike, I mean, first of all, I do think we should wait for Mike, since he's the one that will probably be doing most of the work on this in terms of question prep and emceeing. And I was the one, he had suggested a movie night, and I want to just say, I think anything we do to bring the community together is good. Whatever the theme is, I think it's good, and I'm supportive of whatever people want to do. I was trying to think of how I wanted to articulate what it was, and I realize this is all subjective opinions, right? This is my personal opinion. I think that I like broader categories because it allows more teammates to maybe contribute and involve more people. But that, I'm not wedded to that. But the categories, I also like having, and the first two trivia nights, we had a Portola Valley, we had questions on Portola Valley. So that was a piece of it. And again, and it's about the fact that it's about the community. So, you know, I'll go with anything. And I think we could do something where we've got, Portola Valley, sports, movies, humanities, science and tech. And it might make the teams better. It might not. So I just wanted to throw that out, but I am happy to do whatever anyone wants. I think the one thing as a scorekeeper in the last one is that we need to design the questions so it's actually, Patty, you were with me, weren't you? They need to be easier to have.
We cannot have a cray computer back there trying to calculate who wins,
Yeah.
loses.
Yeah, the ideal thing is you have like 5 rounds of 10, they're all worth 1 question each. I mean, 1
Yeah,
point
that's-
each.
yeah.
Whereas
Mine's
that's not,
Yeah.
is that would be my bigger request on this as a scorekeeper.
Yeah,
And but I think anything that we do to bring the community together is great, no matter what it is.
I like the simpler is better a lot. The simpler is better. It really is better.
I completely agree.
And we do have filmmakers in Portola Valley, believe it or not. There's a guy named Ralph King that lives in the ranch that's a filmmaker. So we could see what he
Well,
did,
Charlie
maybe include some-
Krenz has put together some
and
wonderful.
Charlie Krenz, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. We've got
so
people, so I mean,
yeah.
we could. We'll
well,
see.
let's also remember that the question at trivia night regarding Portola Valley history set off one of the most active discussions and
They were wrong.
it came to blows, put it that way. It came to blows. I don't want that again.
How could they not know the first mayor?
It's a matter of semantics. It's all semantics. Okay, we'll wait for Mike. Okay. Well, let's kind of expand this into town picnic.
Yeah.
So Cindy, go ahead. Cindy asked me if we could at least tie down a date. For the picnic.
Anybody have any objections to tying down the date?
No, I think that's a good idea. Patty, we don't know if we have the budget or not, right?
Yeah, so my caveat to that was, we do not yet know what our budget is. We have submitted a budget that would cover the picnic and Zots. However, if that gets cut, I think we need to revisit, number one, whether we have the event, or number two, if it's a reduced budget, if we continue to hold it, what it would look like. But I don't think that precludes us from setting a date.
So that, and I'm sorry, but the reason is that I have twice a year professionals come in to do pickleball clinics and they want to come in September, and I do not want it to conflict with the town picnic. You know,
Well, there's a couple things that we need to, we need to get dates on. One is the woman that asked us for dates already, Patty, for the, what is it that she does?
The Tour de Menlo.
No, that's another one.
Oh, the art fair.
Pam,
the
the art fair.
the art fair.
are these all at the town center?
Yes,
No,
and
no. Well, theirs is at the church.
which church?
The one right next to the town center,
Christchurch. So
Christchurch.
she doesn't want to have her art fair on the same day as the picnic because it takes away from both of them. So
Yeah.
she already asked us for dates. Her name is Pam. And she picked her date. So we
What's
need
her
to,
date?
well, now we need to find it. Hang on.
He, she picked her date. I think she picked Saturday, September 13th. And we knew that we wouldn't have it on that date because there's a Stanford game. And we never have it Saturday with a Stanford game. So they're
Yeah.
the 13th.
Okay, so we'll need to double check that. Her name is Pamela Dorrell. I just found it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that is happening, I believe it happens in September, is the, and John Myers is always concerned about this, is the softball championship. Because for some reason, the weekend gets, do you remember there's a conflict with, even
Yeah.
though the championship is on Sunday,
Right.
They closed the field, the field's closed on Sunday, yeah.
well, but the picnic is on a Saturday, but there's some issue.
Well, the championship game usually follows.
I have
The
no idea.
championship game is usually the Sunday after, and if they have it the day after the picnic, there's concern that they want to pick up the tables and chairs
Oh,
and everything in time, etc. So it's always nice to not have those two events on the same weekend.
yeah.
I
For
have the
some
date
reason
for
I
that
have-
game up
Okay.
if we need to know it.
I
I'm
have on
sorry,
my
wait,
calendar.
I'm sorry, David, I didn't pick up what you said.
The current schedule for that game is Sunday, September 14th.
9/14. And on my calendar, for some reason, I have PV Arts Fest on the 13th.
That's what we just said.
Oh, you did it, the 13th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, I
yeah,
did not hear that.
Okay, so that weekend's out, and then we try to avoid the Stanford home games.
right. So Stanford is away on Saturday, September 20th. And they're home on the 27th. So we could do the 20th.
20th, okay. Okay, that's the one I wanted, so I'll take the 27th.
Well, does everybody think that the 20th then sounds good?
Doesn't sound bad.
I
Doesn't
don't
sound
have a
bad.
trip, I don't have a trip planned yet. I'm joking. It's so far. It's
I
good.
am gonna come hunt you down
You-
and you are gonna be at that goddamn picnic.
Okay,
Okay, so let's say the 20th for the picnic
okay, and
And Zots to Tots, right?
and
Yeah.
Zots, yes.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
So should it happen, if we actually get a budget and we do this, it'll be on the 20th.
Yes,
Okay,
Well,
Thank-
the other thing that I think we need to decide is if we don't get all the budget we need, is if we want to try to do a fundraising thing for donations to hold it. But that, let's wait and
Yeah.
see where we are
yeah,
with the
yeah.
budget.
Can we hold that discussion?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree,
don't-
though. We'll
I
do
don't
that.
want to have it if we don't have to. But yes, I agree. Okay, all right, since we're talking about fun things, Karen, would you like to talk about bocce?
Yeah, so I know some of you have been in conversations where we've talked about bocce and we've tried to figure out where we would put it. And in my mind, we'd always been thinking about a bocce court that, you know, you have to rake, right? It's got the dirt or the fines or whatever it's called. And I happen to be, I'm going to see if I can pull up my screen. I happened to be walking in a neighborhood, and at someone's house, they had a bocce court, very simple, with artificial turf. And I have played bocce on artificial turf, and it does work. Let me see though, excuse my messy screen. Uh-oh. And I just wanted to show you this. Oops, this is the wrong. Oh, here it is. It's all in the same thing. So can you guys see this? Do I need to?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the
So
old
this
school
is-
turf.
Yeah, so it's super simple. So again, when we're talking about keeping things simple and costs low, if we wanted to do it, obviously this isn't a regulation length bocce court, but it would be, in my mind, it would be pretty low maintenance. It would be interesting to hear, since Robert's on the call, what he thinks about that. And then we've been struggling with locations, and I was at Town Center. And this is the library lawn looking towards this is the main office, you know, where there's this is the concert lawn and the library lawn. But you have this long area here that you could put something on. This has a curve in it, but this is towards the creek end. So that's the library here, looking from the bathroom side. And then this is the library side. So it is more, this is in the afternoon, the late afternoon. This is more shaded on the library side. So there's sort of some sides over to that. And then there's also, these are all ideas. I have no preference here, but there's also where this is outside the community hall.
oh, yeah, oh, wow.
And putting something along this bench. And you could even use the bench for people to sit if you designed it in a way. I don't think this gets used a lot, but it probably does when there are private parties. And then we talked,
Yeah, for sure.
we talked about over in right field where the, you know, the baseball, softball field is, and in between, sort of between pickleball and it's certainly long enough, and it goes pretty far back to that oak tree. And this is not the right field line. I want to try to give you some perspective. That's just where the dugout gate is. Let me see if I can blow this
Yeah,
up.
but
This
we
is
don't-
wait, Dave, just let me finish.
Yeah.
This is first base right here. So I'm just sharing with you that I did not measure it, but I think this is about 10 yards between where the actual foul line is and the pickleball courts. And then once again, that's also the same thing, different perspective. And the last place this is the basketball court, the basketball tennis court, is placing it along here where there's that picnic table and the oak trees. But I'm just throwing this out as ideas and something, thinking about what could we do that's simple, that's low maintenance. And again, my vision, on which I would be happy to volunteer, is to try to set up a social bocce league, you know, like once a week kind of thing with cocktails, or maybe if there's kids, not cocktails, but, you know, just something like that, again, to try to build the community around that and with our Parks and Rec. So that is my latest thought.
You know, the other part, I was looking at the map too, Karen, is right outside the kitchen.
Between the kitchen and the soccer field?
No, between the kitchen and the little schoolhouse. There's a big grassy area.
Yeah, when I was there the other night, there were a bunch of kids playing on it. And that's in the left field of that. That's more in the fair territory, but in the outfield of the,
Yeah, it's it's very outfield. Very,
yeah,
very
yeah.
out. It's where the
Yeah.
food trick usually goes. Yeah, but you
Yeah.
know, there's gonna be kids and dogs all over the spot in the library too. So I don't think there's any one good spot. David, I know you were gonna mention the softball field, and I know what you were gonna say, but go ahead.
I believe that the wall around the bocce court is an integral part of the bocce court. And that would be a hazard for people running out of bounds to get balls. So I am very against putting it along that area between the first base line, foul line, and the tennis pickleball courts.
Yeah, I got the safety.
And then also like all the areas in that lawn for the concert, like whenever there's a concert, that's area
Packed.
all packed and well used. So I think we want to stay out of there. The area by outside of the community hall against that bench is interesting. But like as you said, like I was just at a fundraising thing there in the fall, and we were like meeting inside, but like mingling outside in that area, and it was lovely. So I wouldn't want to break that. Your last proposal of the area in that just past the basketball court seems great to me.
Seems great to me too.
Yeah.
Also,
It-
That's the area.
it's also really sunny, so it'll get a little less leaves on it than other places maybe, but it's also
It's an
sunny
unused
and hot.
area in every other
Well,
way.
and if it's AstroTurf, it's gonna just take blowing the leaves off versus, raking and stuff like that.
So
At least
well,
that's
but then
my,
they'll get caught in the wall, so that might be a little.
yeah, well. And then the only thing I want to point out is when we talk about these concerts, remember that we have 4 concerts a year. It's not like it's being used every day like that. I mean, right now, the library lawn, quite honestly, is getting used every day by about 20 to 25 dogs and their
50.
owners.
50.
It's not 50, Patty,
50.
but
It's 50.
so, and you know what, quite honestly, it's better that they're on that lawn and instead of tearing up an athletic field, in my mind. But it is used for a number of areas, and it's not like the concerts are, I'm optimistic that for 4 times a year, we could figure something out with that section. But I'm not wedded to it. I just wanted to throw the idea out. The other thing I learned today, and Patty, you may know this, I attended the finance committee meeting, and we have a Parks in Lieu restricted fund account, and it's got $46,920 in it. And I asked Tony what that could be used for, because he also mentioned that Parks and Rec could have capital improvement accounts, and Tony mentioned both the pickleball courts and the Ford bathroom, as and that might be fundraising that would go in there. And the response that I more or less understood from Tony is this money in this restricted account is specifically has to go to Parks and Rec. So I think we should learn more about that, as maybe there's some money that we didn't know about.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
David Bailey, go ahead.
Does anybody happen to know offhand the size of a bocce ball court in comparison to, say, the a tennis court? So I can easily snoop
It's
around.
a
and look maps.
91 by 13,
91
But-
by 13.
It doesn't need to be a full-size court.
but you will find people that want it the full size just because they are that way.
13?
I'm fine with a smaller one.
13 seems too wide.
That
in my-
seems wide.
I know.
They want it 91 long.
Well, it's a
Yeah,
little
it is
less.
30 yards is sort of the normal. Think about a 25-yard swimming pool. It's about that long, but I didn't think it was 13 feet
13.
wide. That
So
seems really wide.
Right, so that's like half of a.
Oh, wait a
single
minute,
tennis court.
well, no, meters. Wait, is that in meters?
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay, while Christy's getting that, any other comments from the committee? Personally, I think it's a great idea. I'd love to move forward. It was kind of shot down before because that location outside of the basketball courts that we had proposed was Howard, who was the public works director at the time, had concerns about it because at the time we thought it would be kind of, the oyster shell court, and he was concerned about maintenance and gophers. But if it's kind of a raised bed with an AstroTurf, I think you take away, number one, you take the gopher issue. Number two, it becomes, I think, much more manageable in terms of maintenance. Certainly something players could take care of as opposed to the public works staff.
And I would love to hear what Robert thinks about this idea and how simple it is and what the maintenance might be. And you may need to, you can say, I'll check into it and get back to you.
No, he can't say that. He's got to have an opinion. We are putting you on the spot right now. Bocce court, yes or no? Go. Just kidding, Robert.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I don't have a strong opinion right now. I need to look into the potential maintenance. If it is AstroTurf, if it is AstroTurf and it is, designed to be low maintenance, I think that's great. There's obviously a small amount of maintenance that's involved, but I don't think that'd be any greater than there would be for a field or any other item. I see the biggest potential being figuring out a good location. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into play here. We need to consider all of those. But if we can find a good location and we can find the funding, which is a little bit tighter this year, but we do have some funding, whether it goes to the forward restrooms or this potential project. Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
This could certainly be something that could be eligible for GoFundMe type of fund, for the Portola Valley Fund or whatever they're calling it. Karen, would the town provide the balls?
I thought about that, and I know that the horseshoes have remained there.
Horseshoes are still there.
I have seen one person playing horseshoes. Well, two,
I think that
a
was
pair
John.
of people.
That was John Myers.
No, but I know up in Tahoe at this place called Tahoe Donner, they have bocce courts and people bring their own balls, and it doesn't seem to be an issue at all. So we could provide them, but I also think that it's really simple for people to bring their own bocce balls.
Yeah.
So
It's
I don't see that as a make or break on this. It's not a deal breaker.
Kind of like bowling balls. You got your own.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I have a bocce court.
How big is it?
Are you willing to host these weekly socials if I help?
Sure, I was thinking of doing a rotating one because the Flories have one too. I was thinking, dinner at 1 and okay, so that's just an idea. But ours is not as long and we might have hit the width, but we did not hit the length. But I will tell you, we got halfway through, the guy had never built one before. So I put in 2,500. By the time we were done, we were at 5,000, just to give you an idea of how long ago, 15 years ago. But I'm sure it's a lot more now. But you need a sand and then the oyster shells. And I called.
No, AstroTurf, Christy.
AstroTurf. Okay, but I'm going to tell you, you have to have a roller for all this if you do the real stuff. And Campo de Bocce or Debauchery in Livermore. Well, Campo Debauche in Los Gatos, Debauchery in Livermore. I just called them to finish it up for me because the guy didn't know what he was doing. But you know what happens? It becomes a swimming pool. So you need very good drainage. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's not forget about that. And
Yeah.
mine still is a problem because it wasn't planned well. But I love this idea. In fact, I love it with 2 courts. Could I ask for 2 instead of 1?
I know
No,
you mean.
Green.
Don't
Because
get
then you
greedy.
have
Don't get
multiple
greedy,
people.
Christy. Don't get greedy.
We'll start with 1, but plan 2. Think 2 later on.
God, this will just be like the freaking pickleball courts. We need more. We need more.
I don't
Yeah.
even play on mine, but it'd be so much fun to be out there with lots of people.
Okay, all right. Well, I think it's a great idea. So, what are next steps potentially? Karen, are you willing to work with Robert on looking at some locations and, potentially just outlining what the costs or concerns might be?
Sure. Yeah, and
Would
I
that
do,
be
I
all right?
appreciate the comment about drainage. I feel like I should knock on that person's door and ask them how their court is set up for
Well, you
that. But
know
I'm
what?
assuming a licensed engineer can figure that out.
Oh, well, if we only.
Are you
we
up for
had-
the challenge, Robert?
If we only had one.
Yeah,
Gosh.
drainage isn't too bad. It is important on these things, but drainage isn't too bad.
Okay.
The
You know it-
Florries have one too that is with the turf on it. So that'd be a good example to go see.
Okay, yes, I'm happy to connect with Robert. It'll be next week. But yeah, we can look at the potential locations, and I would love to hear your thoughts on, keeping it simple, keeping costs low, and making it fun.
Yeah, we'd want to look into the location potentially for all those things you mentioned. Yeah, let's talk next week. And thank you, Christy, for the comment on drainage. That is important. That is a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at an article now. A mini court is 22 by 6 feet and a medium court is 60 by 12. So a little different from what I told you before.
Yeah, we'll work it out. We can figure it out. Thanks, Christy.
Mhm.
Okay. Karen's happy, Cindy's happy.
Hmm.
David, are you happy? Anybody happy? Everybody's happy. Okay, anything else on game night, picnic, bocce, fun stuff? Okay, town court, outstanding topics. Cindy, you wanna update nets?
the nets, yes. So we purchased the nets. They'll be delivered on the 28th. They're replacing the rolling nets that the town gave us that were indoor nets that are breaking down and are rusted. And so we, as a club, fundraised and raised the money very quickly and are replacing the nets with better nets, with outdoor nets, basically. So that's our net status. For the resurfacing, that depends on what John's resolution passed. Is that what we would be using, or is that something else?
Yes. So I attached a kind of a proposal to the minutes, which was something that Cindy helped put together as kind of the basis. And what I was going to ask this committee is their thoughts on submitting this to the town as a potential for the first project for public fundraising under the now approved Portola Valley Fund. I talked to Tony about this before. I've talked to John Golden about it. They both thought it would be a great example of what a town type of approved project would be, and also a smaller type of project that would enable us to kind of test the PV fund and its capabilities and, transferring it to town. et cetera, et cetera. I think for those of you who listened to the town council discussion, when John and Tony presented, it was very well received. It was a good presentation. The one item that came out, I think, is kind of the overriding concern. Well, there were kind of two of them. One was what happens when you have cost overruns. So you raise 30,000, which is our current estimate. Let's say it goes over by, I'm making this up, 10%. So now you need 33,000. You know, what happens? Do we choose to raise more at the beginning in anticipation? Do we go for more? What happens if you raise more than what you need? So there are some of these logistics that, even though the town council didn't have firm answers on everything, what they agreed was that this is a great project. They wanted to get in and try it and work out some of these kinks as we move through the process. Review it in about a year, see how it's going. But I think that this would be a great project to kind of kick it off. And that would be kind of what my proposal would be to this committee, but I would love your thoughts on that.
Absolutely
ahead.
want to do that.
Yeah,
So,
so my
Cindy, I'm
thought,
shocked.
so I have a couple thoughts on the concerns they have. One, if there's a cost overrun. If we were soliciting donations, could we get what I would call contingency donations? Meaning that you don't take them. It's just like what Dana did with the frog pond. She got people to commit to donating money to maintain it when it became designated as an open space. And so she does have, as she mentioned, oh, you weren't on the finance committee. She actually brought this up again. There's about $100,000 that had been committed from people that hasn't been in there yet. But what I'm trying to say is maybe there's a way to say, if it goes over, are you willing to kick in another $50 and get commitments from people? And the other thing is I think that if there's a cost, if we are under budget, I think that money should go in the bucket for, I would keep it, like in this specific instance, it's for pickleball courts. I would keep it for the courts, future court, whatever it would be. And if it's for like Shady Lane, like they're doing the trails, keep it for trails. Like I know that might be an accounting nightmare for Tony because he has then restricted funds for all these separate projects, but that I'm just throwing it out as an idea.
Yeah, Shady Lane is the store. Shady Trail is the trail. But
Okay, that one. I like them both.
Okay, Karen, thank you. David, do you have thoughts?
If it's only $3,000 over, then raise more and have a party if it doesn't overrun for the community. And then this seems like something that shouldn't need to be privately funded, so that's kind of irksome. Like, but if it needs to be, it needs to be, but it seems like we should claw some budget for resurfacing the courts.
Not happening.
I agree. I don't think the town has the money. It's the unfortunate thing.
Except for that secret.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know about that secret fund there.
It's the Parks in Lieu fund. It's coming
Yeah.
from development fees but it is going into that restricted account.
Okay, well, I'm definitely asking Tony about that.
So when I wanted to raise funds for the $7,000 I needed for the nets, I asked for pledges before I asked for funds so that I knew that I could raise the funds. And so that's what I would do for resurfacing the courts, is we would put it out there and say, we'd like to know that we can get this $30,000 or more, which in the case of the nets, we got a lot more. So I don't think that's a problem at all, you know, to fund the overrun. If it's $3,000, hell, I'll cover it. You know, I mean, there are a number of people that would have offered to pay for a whole court. So it's not, I just don't think the money's an issue here, getting it. The bigger issue is if we get too much. So like, we stopped the GoFundMe for the nets at $7,000, not knowing that GoFundMe took a percentage. So I've had to go back to people and get funding for that last couple $100s, which was fine, they did, but I would like to avoid that in the future. But I think this will work differently, won't it, Patty? I mean, we're going into a different.
Yeah, there's
we're
no
not
fees.
going GoFundMe, we're going.
Right. Yeah,
into
there's no fees on this one.
There's no fee for that. So it would be a much cleaner way to raise funds. But I don't have a lot of qualms about raising $30,000 for
Or
these,
35 or whatever they have it.
whatever it is. Right now it's 30, but it might be 35 by the time we actually do it, blah, blah, blah. But we'll get, you know, that number is kind of
Yeah.
doable.
Robert, before I go to the public, I'd like be interested in, I don't know if you've heard about this before, but be interested in what your initial thoughts are maybe about both the resurfacing as well as, you know, maybe the process that we're using.
I heard about it for the first time today. It shouldn't be an issue if we're using PV funds for it. We are currently, I believe, in a budget deficit, so it's hard to take it from the general fund. We could also use privately reserved funds if those are available. It'd be a discussion with Tony. I think that it is a priority of the town, or it should be a priority of the town and Public Works to maintain items that are frequently used by the public, and this seems to be one of them.
It is. frequently
So-
used.
Okay, David Cardinal.
Sure. I'm going to channel my inner John Golden to some extent. First of all, I think you mentioned the contingencies. We definitely, there's no question that the PD fund can make allowances for that and have people say either, here's my extra money, or I'm willing to pitch in more, but whether they do or not is up to them. Second, if it's underfunded, not if it doesn't cost that much, rather than put the money into the town fund, there's no reason that the PD fund can't keep that money in the bank, if you will, for this particular purpose and never send it to the town. So if it raised 40,000, only needs 30,000, the 10,000 could stay in the Make Courts Better for Portola Valley 501c3 sub-fund. And that way it doesn't get tangled up in the town at all. The one other wrinkle that was not really settled, that came up in the town council meeting and got a lot of, I don't know, verbiage, is they're concerned that this fund is going to cause a lot of resident inspired asks for, funding, asks for project approval so they can go raise money. And therefore that's going to take some staff time. So that's one other just like footnote, that there is some concern that if everybody who wants their favorite thing suddenly starts going to the town and saying, can you approve this? I can raise the money. Well, the town staff, that's going to cost them money. And there wasn't, I don't think, a great answer to that, but it is one other item that was kind of concern by the town council as these things come up. So that's all I want to say. Thanks.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks for bringing that up, David. I recall that discussion as well. So, Christie, did you have a comment?
Yeah, if some of us weren't on the finance committee, there's a deficit of 198,762. So right now. So I was just surprised. I was bummed. All right, that's it.
Yeah, I'm bummed too. But not a lot we can do about that. Taking matters into our own hands. Okay, so I don't know if we need a vote or not. Do I hear general consensus from the committee that I have support to submit this to the town for a potential approval as a PV fund project?
Yes,
Let's just do this. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Raise your hand. All opposed? David, can I just hear your,
This should be publicly funded.
okay. Fair point. Okay, thank you very much. I will make David's comments known, of which I completely agree with. But I will also ask for funding. Okay. See, anything going on with Hawthorns? Karen?
I do not have any updates on that. I think we heard in our in our meeting with MidPen is there on the public side, they're still trying to figure out the parking lot and they're doing their environmental analysis.
Yeah.
So there's no updates to that.
Do you want me to take this off the agenda?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can always put it back on when,
Put it in the
can you
table
table
section.
it? Can you put it in the tabled
Table.
section?
Yeah,
now.
I'll put it
Yeah,
on the
thank
table.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let us talk about the
Parking.
Rosati's, well, parking, I don't think there's much of an update on. What I didn't put here, probably should have, is that Karen specifically, myself to a lesser extent, have done some work on bathrooms at Ford Field. So let's talk about that first. Karen, would you like to bring the committee up to speed?
Point of order, is that new business?
Could be, I guess. Yeah.
Really on the old business agendas at all?
Yeah. No, that's fair. Can we talk about it now, though?
Yes, I'm just being a jerk.
Yeah. No. I would
It
David?
used to be on the agenda
No,
somewhere.
I was gonna look and be like, hey, can we talk about that? But
Yeah.
David,
So
David, I just want you to know I expect everything from you, and I appreciate that. So, go ahead, Karen.
well, the first thing I want to mention is that this came up very briefly in the finance meeting. And Tony said, and this ties to maybe you've done some research on it, that there was still a grant out there and
Yes.
until 2028. So
Yes.
that was good news.
Karen, I told you about that.
You told me that you were trying to find out if it was still, you hadn't heard, you had been, okay, well, miscommunication then. Okay. So anyway, Patty and I, so the concept was to look at some alternatives to the porta potties that maybe weren't a, if you will, a full-time restroom like we have at Town Center. But two concepts are the portable trailer concept, that you have a flushing toilet and you have water there. You would, and the other one was vault toilets like they have at Windy Hill. So all we've really done is a little bit of research, and Patty and I talked to two gentlemen that are in charge of setting up the restroom facilities for Mid-Penn. So they do this all over the place, generally, next to the parking lots. And we learned a lot about vault toilets and requirements. And I think the deal breaker on that is that they said that if you're near a creek, there's 150-foot setback from a creek for a vault toilet. And we don't think there's 150 feet there. Obviously, we'd have to get a variance or an exception to the 75-foot setback on Alpine Road. But anyway, that was sort of there. And then the other thing that came out, well, that turned me off is he said that they can be, depending on how the wind's blowing, they can be quite aromatic. And so he said, when you have people coming and going from a parking lot, it's not that big of a deal. But if you have people that are sitting around for a baseball game, that might be a bigger deal. Patty, do you want to add anything to that? And also with any restroom facility we put in, there'll be ADA requirements and upgrading and things like that. But they were incredibly helpful. They're very happy to share their knowledge and what works. But you can also buy basically a prefab toilet. They also said that because Alpine Road has sewer and water, most likely we would have to do a sewer and water hookup, that they wouldn't allow a vault toilet anyway, because we have that there. So from there, I've also asked the planning department on, what are the rules for temporary facilities? Because we're also thinking maybe Dave is like shaking his head. No, he's the naysayer today. Anyway, maybe looking at putting them in on a seasonal basis. So for the spring and fall, Little League leagues, we bring in the toilets, but we don't have them there permanently, and trying to see if there are exceptions to that as well. I don't know, Patty, do you want to add anything to it? And the cost that they estimated was probably to put in one that's got sewer and water hookup is probably around at least 300,000 using these prefab toilets.
Whoa.
And that's it. They said it's about 80,000 for a double vault toilet, and then the hookups, all the installation and hookups and all of that for them is about 100,000. That's for a vault toilet, and that you've got to add on the costs by doing the sewer and water hookups.
Wow.
So, anything else you want to add to that, Patty?
Yeah, one of the things that they mentioned is, and Karen touched on this, that because there's a sewer line that runs along Alpine, that it's possible that if we went to the county for any permits, that the county would require us to put in a flushing toilet because the facilities are there. But that there are also a lot of easements that we would have to get exceptions to, the open space corridor easement and the easement from the creek, so that potentially there's not even enough space to put any kind of bathroom. And a flushing toilet, as Karen mentioned, triggers a lot of ADA type of requirements, not only for the bathrooms, but also for the parking lot. So it might require, paving the parking lot or something like that, so that it's more ADA compatible, so to speak. So a flushing toilet creates a lot, and plus they're more expensive just by default, creates a lot of issues. As Karen mentioned, for a lot of reasons, the vault toilet is probably not an option, which kind of leaves the trailers, which I know are not the best solution, but it's better than porta potties, I think.
Didn't they
Um,
feel like Little League did trailers and they're like, this was terrible?
well, they did, but there was a thought that they were not kept locked. So the thing about that space is that, number one, because it's a long alpine. Number two, because Rosati's employees are now parking there. Any bathroom that you put there is going to get used by the public. And that there was a thought that previously the trailers were not locked when Little League was not in session, so that they got overused and under maintained, for lack of a better word. So that there was a thought that if we could control them, like lock them when Little League is not in session, and make sure that we have a regular maintenance schedule, which I know pulls in our public works department, and I'm very sensitive to that, Robert, that potentially trailers would be more acceptable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm pushing back on something. We have an ordinance for temporary use facilities, and our code it's very limited in what can be there. And there's things like, it says voting places, structures incidental to construction, festivals and exhibits for a maximum of 14 days, certain signage, and then travel trailers used during construction of a permitted building. And so I have asked the planning department, I don't want them to do a lot of, this is not the highest thing on their list right now. They're understaffed and they have a lot of projects. So we have to be very sensitive as to what would happen if we were to, how do we expand the ordinance? Like, what would the process be for that? So that maybe we can create an ordinance that would incorporate temporary restroom facilities for things like the baseball season or the concert series, using them for the concerts or the town picnic kind of thing. So we're still in I would say exploration phase.
Yeah. Bert, did you have any thoughts? I know this is all new to you as well, but have you been pulled into this at all?
Are you asking my opinion on this?
Yeah, I just wondered if you had any initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any good solution. I think that given everything, we're faced with either looking at an expensive solution for permanent bathrooms, which is going to be very costly and require jumping through quite a few hoops and getting special approvals, and we would need all parties involved to essentially provide evidence this is a unique situation. Or going for trailers, which again has its own difficulties as well. I do think long term, over the next 5 years, it would be nice to have permanent restrooms in this location. I believe there is a way. I think it's very difficult, but I think that there is a way with enough effort and time. I'm not sure that's going to happen in the short term though.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I strongly believe in the long term to do the right thing, even if it's more effort. And I think that's where I'd like to head. I do think that's a 5-year goal.
Sorry,
But the grant ends in 2028. So
Yeah, 28,
and then how much is it, Patty? How much?
200,000
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money to. Okay.
turned down.
Yeah.
A lot of money to turn down.
So I think ideally we try to get planning on this and see what we can do. I'm not sure if it's going to happen in the short term, but let me look at it. Let me look at what the grant says, what it can be used for. There's something to look into more. It is a lot of money.
Yeah, I have a copy of the grant paperwork that Howard left for me. I had asked for more information on exactly what it qualifies for, but Howard said we submitted it before as a restroom. But yeah, if we could get more information on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I do not think the cost of grants is going to cover all of the work and effort needed. And certainly we should also consider once we do put sewer and water out there, if we do, you know, would this facility also benefit from a water fountain attached to the building itself or features such as that?
Hmm.
I do some more research into it, but it's certainly going to be more expensive than just the grant funding.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Little League has indicated that they would be willing to help. They haven't got put any dollars behind that, but they are motivated to try and find a solution to this as well. So they're a very willing partner. David, do you have any questions? David Bailey? David Bailey?
Sorry,
you're on
I didn't unmute correctly
Yeah.
after. We're about to have a new member of our committee who's actively involved with Alpine Little League, so that'll be great. I don't know if they have water there already for the snack shack.
No,
They don't? Okay. And then,
Yes,
I
they
thought
do.
did.
no,
I
They
thought
do.
did.
They do
We
now?
were
Certainly
told
didn't.
by Jen, I forgot her last name. You know who I'm talking about, Dave.
Yeah,
Jen. She said there is
Sweeney.
Jen Sweeney, that there is a water hookup there for the snack shack.
Wow. When did they put that in?
so that's something.
That is.
And then, oh, do we have, is like the original plans archived? The plans of the original proposal that, the old public works guy whose name I'm now blanking on. Did,
You mean
like,
the proposal for the bathroom or
yeah, proposal for the bath.
I don't think, were there plans ever done, Patty?
That I've,
Or is it all just talk?
I think so. I'm not aware of any plans.
I think there may have been a feasibility study done. I'm not sure if there's plans. I need to look into that more and try to dig up as much as I can. There's
Okay,
been quite a few interim, you know, public works town engineers in the meantime between myself and Howard.
yeah,
And,
Howard.
yeah, and one of the things that happens is when you do have so many interim town engineers, there is naturally a process of the loss of some intellectual knowledge and some historical records and that. So I'm still looking for all that. A lot of it's hard copy, and there's a lot of drawings in the city, in the town center.
Okay, and then a third comment is, I don't know, Robert, if you, as you're trying to do some background work on this, if what your relationship is or will be with the city of Menlo Park, I guess. They have a public restroom / Little League storage shed at Burgess Park by their little fields, which is about the size that we want, I think. So I wonder if if they have good information on what that cost and what it costs to maintain and stuff like that, that they would be willing to share with us.
That's a great idea. I can certainly look into that. We might be in a different situation due to the uniqueness of the scenic corridor.
Yeah, if they're gonna put in public housing, they can give us a restroom.
Oh,
I'll be sure to forward that along to our planning department.
I'm gonna start
guys.
putting David's comments in the minutes, I think. I think it'll make people
Read them.
read them. God damn it, read them. Thank you, David, as always.
I'm here to instigate.
I expect nothing less. Okay, gonna go to the public.
Sorry,
the
can I-
committee.
Can I take it back?
No,
Floor? just like if this is turning into like a subcommittee of the group, I would love to be on that subcommittee.
The toilet subcommittee?
The toilet, yes, the toilet
Okay,
board field
good.
subcommittee.
Go for it, Dave.
This is the Patty Poo Poo Committee. It's called the Patty Poo Poo Committee. Okay, consider yourself on the Patty Poo Poo Committee. All right, David Cardinal.
Sure. First of all, I'm so glad to be in a meeting where I'm only second most maligned David in the meeting. So that's a plus. I'm also, I
Try harder.
obviously,
Try harder, David. Try harder.
yeah, you've inspired me. Just wait. Obviously, if we can get the bathrooms, I think that'd be great, especially since it's a hiking or at least walking hub for everybody. One other thought, as far as the an experiment, the high-end trailers that are used for private gatherings, high-end rock concerts are amazing. They're actually better than almost any public restroom I've been to. So one thought might be, and they're rented, I presume, by the hour or 2 hours, is to do an experiment during like a little league playoff or championship, rent one of those, put it in there, see how many people use it, see what they think. As kind of a low cost way to do some data gathering. I don't know that they'd be cost effective to rent all the time, and I'm not sure we want to own one. I don't know, but the good ones are really good. It's just a matter of how much you spend. So thanks.
Thank you, David. Christy?
Yeah, let me get my thing on. So I was looking into a trailer with man and woman because I'm doing a wedding in a barn. And I found it was around $800 for the day. But that's up in Washington, so maybe down here it'd be more, just to give you an idea of somewhere to start. Did have a question that popped into my mind about staging area for the wedge. Have you heard that they may want to use our parking lot? I just am concerned about that, and if you could start asking. I noticed with the Willows Commons, they went all the way down to Nathhorst with double parking. And I'm not sure we fixed the road after that. So it's a concern going forward if they're close to starting that project. The other thing is, is anyone watering the redwoods? Maybe Dave knows this. Do you do that on a regular basis, or is that conservation? They look like they were getting, like they needed water. So I don't want to lose the redwoods there.
You're not supposed to water redwoods.
Is that right? I water mine. Really?
That's because it's supposed to grow here, Christy.
Huh?
They're not supposed to grow here.
Oh, okay.
If you have to water them, they're not supposed to grow here. Serious. I'm totally
Okay,
serious.
I have a few in my forest.
This is not the Conservation Committee. We don't talk about redwoods.
I think it was Lenny that lives in Ladera that said her husband used to water them, but he no longer does.
Well, they're not supposed to be watered. Jeez,
He's
Christy.
quit, just so you know.
Oh, good.
Okay.
We don't need more redwoods. They're a fire danger. Okay. Anybody else have any comments about bathrooms? Okay, so I guess next steps, just continue to kind of do some research and work on some of these interim steps. Yeah, and add David to the poo-poo committee. Okay, I don't think there's anything on parking, right? I haven't heard anything on parking.
It was crazy today as I was coming down Rostero today.
Are you talking about the Zots parking lot
It's always crazy.
or Ford Field?
No, like people were parked along Rostero and are going to get a bunch of tickets and all that sort of stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sane. Okay, all right, then, the AED units, David Cardinal, I want to thank you for your help on this. Looks like we're not gonna get, Woodside Fire will not, certify them or list them on their website because they did not install them and they do not maintain them. So, I have to think about what going forward. I still would like to publicize them, but I can't do it with Woodside Fire Protection District approval. So I have to think about that.
Yeah, as you know, because you've been involved in the loop the whole time, it's a really annoying catch-22.
Yeah.
So the town doesn't seem to want to necessarily take ownership and say that they're responsible. And the fire department, like you said, for liability reasons, doesn't want to certify a unit that they don't maintain, I guess, in case someone goes there and dies because the battery's dead or something. So it's pretty annoying. We put them in the pulse point AED, so they are technically there, but they're there as unverified. So they don't come up when you hit the panic button and say, where's the closest AED?
I know.
So they're on the map in a weird way, but not very usefully.
I know. It's very frustrating. So anyway, I'll continue to think about what to do there. I think I might still publicize them on the forum, just so people are aware of them, because they aren't today. We'll go from there. Okay. Any other old business, new business, comments, questions? Okay. Adjourn at 9:05.
Thank you, and
Thanks,
thank you,
everybody.
Robert, for
you,
attending,
Robert.
and
You're Robert.
welcome to
Hope you
welcome
come
to
back.
Portola Valley.
Please come back.
Thank you all. Karen, can you send me an email just so that I'm in contact with you so we can
Yeah,
work together on the box report?
Yeah, and I'll actually do that right now before I forget, and then you'll
Thank-
have my email. But I won't be around for the rest of the week. So, Okay. all right, thank you.
Have a good
Robert,
weekend all.
Sure. Right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.